Hi guys, how you all doing? Listen, electric cars, are they really the long-term answer to our environmental problems, or are we barking up the wrong tree? Could a major manufacturer actually have a better idea? Find out who that is right after this. Right, so I've actually got my old mate Kamui to thank for this. He lives over in Japan, and he's been sending me some information about what Toyota has been up to recently with going racing with a car that is well, it isn't a traditional petrol engine, put it that way. But before we get into that, here's the thing. Toyota is one of the world's, in fact, if not the world's biggest car manufacturer. It's either Toyota or Volkswagen. They swap places. It's one or the other. Now, Volkswagen is completely thrown in its cap with the whole electric car thing. ID3, ID4, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever they're doing. They're doing them. They're churning them out. They've come up with their modular platform. They're doing full electrification. They've got tons of electric cars out now at the moment, not just in the Volkswagen group, but across the group, Audi, Porsche, etc., etc. So they're definitely going in that direction. Meanwhile, Toyota have only just recently released their two fully electric cars, which is, they started with the Lexus US 300E and then the Toyota BZ. Prior to that, they've been going down the whole hybrid route, as we know. I mean, they were one of the pioneers with Prius. Them and Honda were one of the first people to put a hybrid production car out into the market. And Prius has proven its worth. It's you can't cross the road here without bumping off an Uber Prius. Let's put it that way. So this is what Toyota reckons. Toyota reckons that electric cars, they are going to be out there, they are going to proliferate, and it's going to be down to whether there's going to be public acceptance and an improvement in infrastructure. Both those things are required. The public are beginning to come over, but the infrastructure is still not there, so they're quite right. But more importantly, they see an issue with battery production capacity and difficulty in sourcing the materials that are needed to produce enough of these batteries for all these EVs. They are sticking with the hybrid thing, and there's a very good reason. I mean, like me, because I often say this as well, I think the short-term solution is still hybrid cars, because I think there's going to be another solution longer term. Electric cars are part of the solution, but they're not the whole solution. So in the meantime, without the infrastructure, without the convenience and etc., or faster batteries and faster charging, whatever, hybrid cars have got to be the way until we get to somewhere else. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. But they've put it down into very factual information, that gives me a little bit of ammunition every time I give people this argument. And in fact, it's something that they said in 2019. They said they can produce enough batteries for 28,000 electric cars each year, or 1.5 million hybrid cars. So just look at the comparison there. The number of batteries, the same number of batteries that will go into 28,000 fully electric cars can go into 1.5 million hybrid cars. So putting it that way, it's quite clear that selling 1.5 million hybrid cars reduces the carbon emissions by a third more than selling 28,000 electric cars. I mean, that is a big difference. So as they say, the carbon footprint is much smaller if they actually sell more petrol electric hybrid cars. Crazy, right? But actually, to my mind, that does make perfect sense. Now, the answer that they are going after, pursuing, and strongly believe in is hydrogen cars. Now, there are lots of issues with hydrogen cars, hydrogen fuel cell powered cars, I should say. And they are onto their second generation hydrogen fuel cell powered car, which they do sell in America and in some markets, but in very limited numbers. I think the first generation only sold about 10,000 units or whatever. The second generation, and it didn't look great, let's be honest, but the second generation car that's just recently been introduced looks absolutely fantastic, really sleek, really futuristic, really nice. And that one, I think they're pitching that a little bit more for public sale, but again, infrastructure is the issue here. Now, they've come up with another car that they took racing, and that was also a hydrogen powered car, but there's a difference. So the Mirai generates electricity to power motors. So basically it is an electric car, but it's using a chemical reaction between hydrogen and oxygen in the hydrogen engine vehicles to develop the electricity to drive the motors to drive the car. So that's what it's doing. This car that they put a car into the Fuji 24 hours race last year. And it was actually driven by, a FIA World Endurance Championship legend, Kamui, not the Kamui that sent me this, another Kamui Kobayashi, but also the boss, the big boss, the company CEO of Toyota himself, who's a bit of a racer, as we know. He's often seen racing at Nürburgring, Akio Toyoda. And they put a Corolla Sport hydrogen engine powered car into the 24 hours. Now, the difference with this, by the way, I should mention that Corolla, although it had a Corolla body, it pretty much had the Yaris, the GR Yaris drivetrain in it. So, it was really something. They put it under the rookie racing badge. I think maybe even Akio actually entered under a different name or something like that. Some funny stuff was going on. But anyway, that's not relevant to this conversation. The Corolla Sport, how it works is it burns compressed hydrogen to power a conventional 1.6 liter inline 3-cylinder engine. So instead of putting petrol into it, it puts hydrogen into it, and actually it's more efficient that way. And you actually get a faster burn, faster revs, better response, in fact, from the thing. To be fair, it only did 358 laps at an average speed of 67 kilometers per hour, and the lap count was actually less than half of the winning car, which was a Nissan GTR. I'm sure no love lost between Nissan and Toyota there, but that wasn't the point. They weren't out there to win. They did actually finish the race. They only spent 12 hours on the track. They had to pit 35 times to fill up the hydrogen tanks, but that process took about 7 minutes. So 14 hours of refueling, in fact, in total. 4 hours of refueling over the 24 hours. Interesting thing, the hydrogen fuel refueling trucks had to be parked in a corner of the paddock away, just to be on the safe side. And they also had some mechanical issues as well. But here's the thing. If they had to refuel the car, it still took them 7 minutes. And you think, well, that's still more than refueling it conventionally. But 7 minutes is a lot less than 30 minutes to an hour, which you currently have to do with electric cars. So put it that way. The good thing about this car, although it's got a conventional combustion engine kind of thing, so to speak, but because it's fueled by hydrogen, there's almost no CO2. So it's pretty much zero emissions. Apart from, I think it uses a little bit of oil, just engine oil, basically, because of the, you need engine oil and an engine, right? So it basically uses up a little bit of that. But other than that, and I think there may be one or two other emissions, but generally it's much, 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 much cleaner. So hydrogen combustion, also they say, and I think quite rightly, it helps to save jobs in the transition between, today's economy and where we're going towards in the future. A hydrogen powered engine, you don't have the expense of developing a fully electric motor and using up all of those batteries. So it's a clean solution, a simple clean solution to the problem. And they are expected to be cheaper to build and therefore cheaper to buy than current, certainly electric cars, but even the hybrid cars, because, they're a little bit more conventional. The problem, of course, is the refueling infrastructures, and they do agree with that is an issue. Hydrogen is expensive, and the refueling stations do need a lot of investment for them to work safely. And then you also have onboard storage tanks made of carbon fiber and stuff like that, just to make them safe. So again, it's a little bit more expensive. Carbon fiber is still not cheap. It's cheaper than it used to be, but it's still not cheap to make stuff out of that. But having said that, hydrogen could be the answer going forward, because of, it didn't do so well in the racing. It didn't do so well in the racing, let's be honest. But when it comes to petrol heads like us, and one of the things that we miss about electric cars, I've been reviewing quite a lot of electric cars recently, as you know, and the performance is amazing and all of that, but the experience of the engine noise and the ability to change gear and feel what the engine is doing and all of that stuff is completely devoid in that experience. And if it's a very cold clinical experience in that sense, it's an efficient but less passionate experience, if you like, in most cases. Here is an answer or a solution or a way forward to have the best of both worlds, to have the cleaner, almost zero emission engines, but to still actually have engines, so we can still have that traditional feel from a car, and round the whole thing up by saying that actually it's economically feasible and a more sound idea to pursue. And this is coming from pretty much the world's biggest car manufacturer, which has been pretty slow to jump on the whole electric car bandwagon, unlike a lot of its contemporaries. So fascinating stuff going on there. I think that there's really something. I think I personally feel Toyota are onto something. And I've always said that I think that there has got to be another solution. Electric cars are definitely here to stay. They're definitely a great thing. They're definitely part of the solution, but they are not the solution on their own, simply because we don't have the infrastructure to charge them and the batteries are still not quite up to what we need them to be. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Are electric cars the answer? Are hybrid cars the answer? Or are hydrogen cars the answer? Not hydrogen fuel cell, hydrogen cars. Are they the answer? Put your comments above, below, elsewhere. See you all in the next video. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy and hit the bell icon and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. Whilst you're at it, subscribe to browncarguy.com and follow me on social media by just searching for my hashtag. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even on TikTok. If you love my content, then please consider sponsoring and supporting it, and you can do that over at patreon.com/browncarguy. And you know what? You can use my platforms to promote your product, service, or brand. My YouTube channel is now closing in on 3,000 subscribers as I record this. Total views are nearly 500,000, and the reach just over the last month is nearly 1 million. So join these amazing people as my patrons, including Mohammed Humaid in the UAE, Partha in India, a tech guru and social media consultant. Find him on parthans.com. Tom Conway Gordon here in the UK, Isaac Beauchard in the US. He's got some great deals on cool cars at bespokeautos.com. Reza Adil, check him out at Alizadeh Cigars on Instagram. Mohammed Qasim, business consultant. You can find him at wehms.com. Siraj Abbasi at Tiles Italia on Instagram for luxury floor and wall tiling. Mark Waddell in Canada. Zach Kogiani, a globe-trotting pilot with amazing images for sale at zachkogiani.com. And last but not least, my school champ Shaheer Hakki. Thanks for watching. More cool vids on the way. Catch you again in the next one.